Hi everybody, Mary here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am scrapping cocoa and candy canes. So this layout I am creating for the January challenge, January 2023 challenge, over in the Peartree Cutfiles Facebook group. And the challenge is to use some of my favourite things. That's what the challenge is called. And the 5 things you have to use is either a cut file or a large title, distressed edges, a stencil, Enamel.sequins or sprinkles, and multiple photographs. I've actually got, I think it's 7 photographs going on this layout, so I've definitely met that one. Stenciling, absolutely, because that's what I'm doing right now. I'll talk about that in a second. The cut file I'm going to be using sprinkles later, and you'll see me distress some edges towards the end. So what I'm doing is I want to use this woodgrain paper as my background. It's colour vibe paper from Simple Stories, and I wanted to use that because it matched the colour of the hot chocolates in the pictures and the hot chocolate station photograph as well. I love woodgrain for Christmas. I think it works really well. But I wanted to just spruce it up a little bit and sparkle it up a little bit, so I have used some Nouveau Glacier paste and popped it through our Peppermint Dream stencil from the shop. And then I've splattered some white paint all over as well, just for some extra little dots in the background. I do like to do splatters. I think they look really effective in a background. I also like to splatter on top of ephemera, but in this case I did it behind everything. I have penciled on roughly where the cut file was going to sit so that you can see, so that I knew where it went, so I knew where to stencil. And I was very careful with my stenciling as well, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have like half candy canes anywhere, because I was pretty sure that would have looked really very silly, and I didn't want that. So just playing around right now with the positioning of my photographs. The plan is to have the hot chocolate station, as you can see there at the top, to have the 2 photographs of the hot chocolate themselves at the bottom, and then to have the 4 photographs of my son and my husband opening the hot chocolate station tucked behind the mug. Now I've already backed the mug in vellum, and I've also backed the candy canes in vellum because I have a plan for those, which I will share with you later. But for now I'm just going to get on with backing some of these letters. I kind of popped them back on to make sure I was happy with how that green candy cane paper looked, because I'd chosen that over the pink. I didn't want it overly pink. There's not a lot of pink in the pictures. There's some pinky tones, but it's more greens and reds, so I wanted to stick with those sort of colours. So I'm alternating here, doing green and red for candy canes. I don't make you watch me do all of the cut file backing, but I do back it all in the same way. I alternate, so green and then red. I've also pre-cut using some dies that I have, a tag die, 4 tags to put the 4 photographs onto when I took them behind the hot chocolate mug that you can see there. I back my cut files in a couple of different ways. Some of them I'll stick a piece of cardstock on the back of the letter and then fussy cut round it once it's stuck on. But for these, they're quite fiddly, so I decided to cut them out first, draw around them, cut them out, but cut them out leaving a gap around, and then stick them onto the back. I'm now just using the internal letters to pop the centre of my other letters like the A and the E and the D. I'm just using the internal letters to help me figure out where to put them. Right, onto the shaker pocket. So my plan here is to turn this mug into a shaker pocket. I'm using very thin strips of adhesive foam. These are just from Amazon, and I've put a little strip all the way around the outside of that mug, and I'm just going to add some of the little sprinkles. These are like polymer clay sprinkles. I'm going to put some of those in, and then I decide I'm going to add a few sprinkles in there that are sequins as well, just to add a little bit of extra glitter. Some of the ones in that mix are gems and they're really thick, so I decided to pick those out and just keep the flatter sequins in there. Using another piece of vellum now, peeled off the adhesive backing from my foam, another piece of vellum onto the back, and that works really well, and then just trim round the outside to get rid of the excess vellum that we no longer need. And there we go, cute little shaker pocket. So very pleased with how that's looking so far. I'm going to have a play around now with what I'm going to back my photographs with. I'm going to alternate around the page so that photographs that are mainly red will be backed in green, and photographs that are mainly green will be backed in red and in pink. Just debating the positioning of these two at the bottom. Definitely going to back that one in the red, and I think I want some pink in there as well, because there's now a pinky element, especially in that shaker pocket. So, and you don't see a lot of it, you just see a little bit, so I just want to have those kind of pops of colour popping out from behind the photograph. Just doing a little bit of a distressed edge around the outside, and then onto my tags. Now I was going to just stick these down randomly, and then I realised that I didn't like the back of each tag, so I want to stick 2 tags together, which takes me ages to get it lined up properly. So stick 2 tags together and then put 1 photograph on each side. So I'm just going to stick these down first, and I want to make sure I try and put the photographs in some semblance of order. So I'm going to put the 2 of them, opening them together, and then I'm going to put the one of the hot chocolates all finished, and the one of them once they've opened it and they're smiling at the camera. So I've just tucked those in. Again, just giving a little bit of distress into the edges. Decided to tuck my photographs under those 2 candy canes, because it was I just felt like it was hiding a little bit too much of the cut file. So I'm going to pop some adhesive foam on the back of the top one of these 2, but not on the bottom one. I don't want the layout to become too thick. Now I'm going to prop the rest of my cut file up. I do need to prop the rest of it up because of the shaker pocket at one side, which is the mug. That's already quite thick, so I can't sit this flat to the page. So just put in some adhesive dots. These are a nightmare, these things, by the way. They're really difficult to get off the sheets, and then they're also really difficult to get the backing off them once they're on. So what a faff. I kind of wish I'd not started this, but it needs a dimension and they need using up. I won't ever buy them again, but they need using up. So happy with the positioning of that. And then I'm going to pop some more. I always do a little bit of sticky and a little bit of glue on my photographs to make sure that I am sticking it down. So in case because there's now texture on that back piece, on my main piece of paper, from the texture paste and the stenciling that I've done, it's almost a little bit difficult for it to stick. So I just want to make sure it's properly going to stick. So using a bit of both, bit of tape, bit of glue. Here's me now peeling the backs off all these. Sorry, this takes me a little while. It is worthwhile having that dimension there, but it's quite frustrating having to pick them all off. So this video was created live in the Facebook group. If you want to see this in its entirety done in real time, slowly, just head on over to the Facebook group. I'll leave a link in the description box below, and you'll be able to see me put this together whilst I'm also chatting to people in the group at the same time. So I've just added some baker's twine to the top of those 2 tags to fasten them together, and now I'm going to have a play with bits of acrylic that I have. So I'm going to put a little bow there on the candy canes, and I'm going to put the 2 little candy canes down in the bottom corner of the bottom photograph. Those 2 items are both from our December album embellishment advent calendar that we did this year. We did 3 calendars this year. We did an embellishment one, a December album cut file one, and then a 12x12 Scrapbookers cut file one. The cut file that you can see on the page there is also from the 12x12 Scrapbookers advent calendar. It's still available in the shop. Again, I'll leave the link in the description box below if you are interested in purchasing that. It's still available. 25 exclusive cut files. You can't buy them anywhere. You can't get them in the shop. They're not available. They're only available as part of the advent. The December album ones are all sort of 6x8 size. They're all suitable for smaller albums and December dailies. I'm using a lot of them in my December daily this year. So this is my bit of distressing. I have ripped my page in 3 places, rolled the paper back, stapled it down with my tiny attacher, and then popped a little bit of that lovely red cardstock behind, just popping out through, and then I've just stuck the edges down with some of that magic tape just so they don't get caught up and ripped off. Decided to pop a few little sequins all over the page because I do like a little bit of sparkle. I felt it needed a little bit of something. I have got loads of ephemera from the collections I've used here, so I'm using Simple Stories Holidays and Simple Stories Baking Spirits Bright collections, but I did feel that there wasn't a lot extra needed. There was already so much going on the page. I didn't need to do loads, because I do then take, as you can see me doing now, my Nuvo drops, and I'm filling in my cut files with the Nuvo drops on top of the vellum, because they will then dry really glossy, and they look like cookies and they look like candy canes. They're so sparkly. You'll see me do a little bit more in just a second. I have filled the marshmallows in the cup in white already and sprinkled them with glitter. And I've done the red parts of all the candy canes. I was going to leave it just doing the red parts, but I do decide in the end that I want to do the white as well. It just didn't feel quite white enough for a candy cane. I use my hole punch there, as you can see, that pokey tool. I put a big blob of the Nuvo in the centre of the space that I want to fill with the Nuvo drops. I then push it around with that pokey tool and push it into the corners. It saves getting it on the edges, and it makes sure it spreads around really nicely. And you'll see from the photographs, it has dried really nicely. Dried all glossy and looks super cute. So just filling those extra bits in there. That extra candy cane in that cup at the top there, and then I take the brown again. My Nuvos are currently standing in our brand new Nuvo drops holder that's available in the shop as well. You can see it there in clear. We also sell it in mint. It holds 8 bottles of Nuvo drops, and it holds them all upside down for you so that they are ready to use as soon as you need them, and you don't get that horrible kind of blobby effect when you get an air bubble. It's all drained down to the bottom and it's perfectly ready to use. Adding a few last little bits of ephemera onto my page now, a few little bits of embellishing. I found a couple of word stickers that I liked. I found a couple of peppermint sweeties and a couple of flowers just to add those final finishing touches. And that is pretty much it for my layout. Here come the close-ups. Thank you so much for watching the process video. Like I said, if you want to see the layout come together in real time, please head over to the Facebook group. Keep watching for even more close-ups. There's loads coming because I'll show you the tags inside, and you can see that beautiful sparkliness. Thanks for joining me on my channel today. If you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me. And do give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And yeah, keep checking back for more videos coming soon on my channel. You can find me on Instagram at Peartree Cutfiles and at Peartree Papercrafts. See you again soon. Bye for now.